beautiful day today. Sunshine throughout. Low humidity. Really a splendid September day. The afternoon temperature about 80 degrees. Great weather for the primary election. Tonight, clear and cool.
Airline's emergency line, please state your emergency.
I am monitoring a call in which Flight 11, the flight attendant is advising our reps that the pilot and everyone's been stabbed.
Report a second airplane just flew into the World Trade Center.
The thing I remember most about the morning of 9/11 was just the sheer silence and the solemnness of the room I was in, which is a Clovis Fire Station 2, and there was just no words spoken.
I couldn't believe that our country was being attacked. I just couldn't believe it.
When you see bodies falling from the sky, you have trouble reconciling that that's happening here, that's happening to our citizens.
The video was showing people hanging out of windows, that we had just lost a lot of people, and we need to get the people out of that second building, Tower 1.
So I remember getting on the dial a telephone and calling my mom saying, "Are you watching the news? This feels like it's big."
I was stunned to the point where I didn't know what to say, and I was angry.
I was wondering, what are they showing at school to the kids? I hope my kids aren't seeing this unfold.
Obviously, something's going on. We don't know the facts yet, and we don't want to scare the students. Our main job is to assure the students that they are safe in our school right now.
Our first responders and their bravery, running in when people were running out, those things are burned into my memory of watching it even from afar.
Me, in terms of the way I felt about my country, I felt a stronger connection to being an American than that day more than ever.
I still believe in the American spirit, and we will unify. When we need to come together, we do, and that's exactly what we did.
It was all about we're all one, we're one nation, we're America, and we're going to deal with what happened here. And our country responded, and responded swiftly, and it made me proud to be an American, made me proud to be a law enforcement officer.
Run our show for every daughter, every son. The price was paid for everyone, so remember him, cherish his name. Your freedom rings.
So how the memorial came about was that Pelco had done a quarterly magazine. After 9/11, the next quarterly magazine was dedicated to 9/11. That magazine went out to everybody and anybody in New York that could have been a first responder. And so after that, letters started coming in thanking Mr. McDonald and the Pelco owners for sending that out, and then telling their stories, which were heartbreaking. And so the idea came up is let's do a memorial on this campus. And then it evolved from there, all the thoughts and all the processes, and typical Pelco, it was the people that worked there as well. One of the other owners with Dave is Tim Glines, and Dave was usually the guy that started the ideas rolling, and then Tim Glines was the one that executed, right, and got everybody else together and just started making things happen.
Tim Glines was one of those people you just don't say no to. So Tim Glines reached out to me as the Honor Guard captain for the Clovis Fire Department, and because the memorial is in the city of Clovis, that was the only connection we had, and I was kind of familiar with Tim through some other things we had done. So when he reached out to me and told me that I was going to be in charge of this thing, I couldn't say no. It wasn't an option. The patriotic thing for me to say would have been I was all in, and I was like, this is going to be a great thing, but I was very skeptical. Didn't know we could even pull it off. And the kicker to this whole thing was this conversation's happening at the end of September, and they're gonna do this by the beginning of December. So we had a very tight line to get the flag built and everything else, and the logistics of bringing all these honor guards who had, again, no history of working together. I had no contacts. I didn't know anybody in these other honor guards. It seemed like an almost insurmountable task. But then you think back to the morning of 9/11, what those guys are looking at is they pulled up to these towers and seen this insurmountable task. These guys had to climb 70, 80 stories before they even thought about fighting a fire, and they went in and did it. So I felt pretty dumb saying this can't be done, or saying that failuristic attitude. So we orchestrated it. We brought all the honor guards together. I was very fortunate to have a guy named Jimmy Olson from the Fresno Police Department Honor Guard, very well respected, former Marine, and he was kind of like my right-hand man as far as etiquette, credibility, and getting things done.
At that time, I was in charge of the Fresno Police Department Honor Guard, and we were an agency that was asked to be involved in this memorial. And our department stepped up, and I volunteered to be part of this.
So Pelco chartered 5 commercial jetliners to fly over 1,100 police and fire personnel from 9/11 out here to the original dedication of the 9/11 memorial here in Clovis. And we greeted these guys with medallions, and they were draped over their neck like an Olympic medal would be. The look on these guys' faces was they never heard of Clovis, California. Fresno to them was some place that had a pretty good football program, and other than that, they really didn't even know where in California we were located. So I don't think their expectations were much, but the biggest thing about that was they were just tired. They were just tired. They'd been months on the pile, as they referred to it, the debris, and they lost their friends, the things they were seeing, the smells they were smelling. They were just broke. As a profession, they were just broken. You can tell they were broken people. There's just not much life in their eyes when you looked at them. And for us to greet them as the heroes they are and were, with a medallion, it just said, hey, you're in California, you're in a place called Fresno, you're gonna go to a little town called Clovis, and we built this amazing memorial for you that's gonna change your life. And we got the feedback we got, and that's I always remember that. That event back in 2001 created lifelong friendships between the West Coast and the East Coast.
And then the actual ceremony itself, I think, was it was almost like a memorial service, right, where you go and you feel like you have some closure. And I think that's what we did for them, was we brought them some closure. And there was 400 chairs, white chairs, and they were empty. We laid a yellow rose on each chair, and we put the name of the fire, police, or emergency person that lost their lives, any first responders that had perished at 9/11, and that was so impactful.
When they showed up at that memorial and saw those chairs where their co-workers and people they knew, names on them, with those, again, the white chair and the stark contrast of a bright yellow rose, it was very, very emotional. And you could tell for the first time in a long time they were allowed to grieve, because up till that point they've been so focused on their task they didn't take the time to grieve. It was a very, very powerful moment for us.
The price was paid.